All right. Welcome to our last call of the year here. What a way to wrap things up. I got some cool stuff to share with you guys. One of our apprentices I was working with to try and figure out a way to get people to do something they wouldn't ordinarily do. And this happens a lot of times when you're working in the bottom of the pyramid in unawareness, like the unawareness pyramid that we talk about in our first segment of the training, is knowing where your people are. Are they aware of the problem even? Are they aware that there's solutions? All of that kind of stuff. So a lot of times when they're down in this place where they're unaware, they're really hard to hook. They're hard to get a hold of. They're hard to get to opt in so you can show them what you've got and why they need it. A perfect example of this, and this is actually where I got the solution to his problem. And the perfect example is timeshares. Nobody wants to go sit through a timeshare, right? So how do they get butts in the seats? They offer them something really cool to do it. That's how they get you to sit through a presentation. So think about that in our space. How do you get someone to sit through your presentation? You could offer them something really cool at the end of your webinar. It's the exact same model that has been used for decades in the timeshare industry. And the problem is, how do you get something that cool to give them, and how do you do it without breaking the bank, right? That's what everybody's thinking, because client acquisition, there's a certain cost associated with any kind of client acquisition. So to be able to do that at an affordable rate and be able to get people in and give them what you need to give them to get them hooked and see your presentation, that's going to be the key. So I got some really cool stuff to show you, and I'll actually show you how I got it, where I got it, and how you can get it too, so you can use these in your own lead generation. Great lead generators. I mean, think about if you could give away, a 7-night Hawaiian vacation to get somebody to sit through your presentation. You think you'd be a little more effective? and again, I mean, this all comes down to how well you target your prospecting too. I mean, obviously, you could get 1,000 people on a webinar. If they're the wrong people and the wrong message, you're still not going to convert. So you got to get all that stuff right. But assuming that you do, and your only problem is, hey, I can't get people hooked to come over here because they don't see the value up front. Maybe they're not even aware of what you have. So anyway, that's what we're going to go over. Does anybody have any questions or anything, before I get into this? Anybody stuck on anything or? No? We're all good to go? Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you one of these things that I've got, and I'm telling you, it's the exact same thing that the timeshare people use. So I'm going to go ahead and share and get the first one up here. So this is a PDF certificate that can be used as a lead generator to get somebody to actually watch your webinars. So you can offer them a 1 to 4 night Las Vegas hotel and casino stay. And again, sometimes these things are looked at as cheesy, but a lot of times, I mean, they work. Stuff works. There's a lot of people that don't do things in the online space because they don't like them for whatever reason. Like, people are against email. They don't send email. But I'm telling you, email works. People wouldn't do it if it didn't work. There's certain things that you can do. Might not be something like, you might say, hey, I hate email, or hey, I hate these kind of giveaways. But that's you. And remember, if you're not the ideal target market, then you don't matter for that decision. You've got to look at what appeals to them. So anyway, if your market was, if you knew that, Vegas was their thing, this would be a great incentive to give them, to get them to opt in for something. And you can do it one of two ways. You could either give it to them to opt in, or you could give it to them at the end of the webinar. So now you've got a chance to get in there and you can actually deliver your message before giving them the gift. And that's what they do in the timeshare industry. You know, they give you the certificates after the presentation, after the sale has been made, or if you're just not going to buy, then they give it to you and send you on your way. So, but that's how they get people to sit through those presentations. And that's a big problem with our community online, is how do we get people to sit through our webinars? It's even harder because in a timeshare presentation, you know, they don't feel right just getting up and leaving a lot of times. But in your webinar, guess what? They don't have any problem with it. They just click the off button and go about their business. So it's even harder. So this kind of stuff is really cool. A lot of guys, what you'll see, or what I've seen anyway, they will do a thing where they'll give away $100 bill or $100 PayPal payment. And they do it as a raffle at the end of the webinar. And it's only for those that have been on for the whole thing. So this is the same thing, but you're not giving away a $100 bill every time. You're giving away the certificate. So you guys are probably thinking, wow, how can I afford to buy these certificates? And I'm going to get to that in a minute, but let me show you some of the other ones that are really cool. And again, there are some catches. Everybody asks, what's the catch? Typically, under the terms and conditions, you'll see they have to actually send a $15 processing fee in to process their certificate, and they're on the hook for the taxes for the room. It doesn't cover everything, so they've got to pay their own taxes. Here, it's like 12 to 33 bucks a night, depending on time of year and so on. So they've got to cover their own taxes and all that kind of stuff. And you've probably seen these before. Let me pull up another one here. Let me lower this one. And here's one. This one's perfect for a dentist. Like, imagine a dentist using this as a hook to get people onto his mailing list. He's giving away a professional teeth whitening system. You know, anybody that is interested in whitening their teeth, they've got some, you know, they're looking for dental solutions. So that would be a great person to get on their list. Like, if you're a dentist and there's 50 other dentists in your town, the one with the mailing list that keeps on top of those people are going to be top of mind when they need dental work. So again, you know, this is a perfect solution. You know, giving this away, here's terms and conditions. It's $14.95 for the processing fee. So basically they get a teeth whitening system for 15 bucks. You know, it's a pretty good deal. All right, here, let's see. Let's get another one up here. This one's kind of cool. If you've got people, let's say you wanted to prospect and you want to, you know, build a mailing list for older people, you know, like people that could be wanting to go into an elderly facility, stuff like that. It's healthcare. And actually, this could work for a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be elderly, but this is a discount program where they can get, you know, up to 70% discounts on prescription meds, lab tests, imaging services, a bunch of different stuff. And this one, I believe, is absolutely free. You don't even have to pay for the card. There's no processing. This is a pure free deal to give away for them. So that's another cool one there. Here's one. If if your people are not travel oriented, if they're not health oriented, they probably eat. So another way, and again, these are just examples of ways to incentivize people to either get on your mailing list or to stay to the end of your webinar so you can actually deliver your message. This is $300 gift certificates, so for dining. And what they do, they give them to you once a month. I think they give you a $25 card every month for a whole year. And, you know, again, there's some rules to it. It's only good for 50% of the purchase price. Like if you have a $50 meal, it's going to cover half of it. But still, again, that's a great deal. Everybody eats. So this is a good one, you know, generically just across the board. Here's a 3-night hotel stay. If Las Vegas isn't your thing, here's a whole slew of them to choose from here. Now, another thing you can do, there's some more advanced ones here, like this is a golf and stay in Cabo San Lucas. You could offer them up front to sign up for your webinar. You could offer them the 1 night or the Las Vegas stay, and then you can say, hey, if you stay till the end, I'm going to give you a bonus, and I'm going to give you, you know, this golf package and, you know, in Cabo San Lucas. Again, another incentive to do something else. Here's another one. Here's a 6-night stay in Mazatlan, Acapulco, Puerto Peñasco, Cancun, and Nuevo Vallarta. You know, they keep getting better. So if you want to step people up, like maybe you want to say, hey, I'll give you this one if you watch my webinar. Anybody that signs up will upgrade you to this one, or you can have them both. You know, again, it's just cool stuff. Here's one where you can give them airfare and the hotel. You know, that's again, that's another upgrade type of thing. And then this is probably the biggest one they've got. This is a 7-night luxury resort condo. You know, this isn't just a hotel room. This is like a luxury resort condo type of deal all over the world. 3,500 locations to choose from. And basically the tax on this, I think it's about $400 for the whole week. So they're getting the whole thing for about $400. So anyway, pretty cool stuff. So to show you, I told you guys I was going to give you a gift. So what I'm going to do, I'll let you guys pick which one of these do you want. I'll give you guys one of these. Of all the stuff that you saw, either come out on the Zoom, on the chat or whatever, and let's do a vote on what you guys think you would want on this, because I'm going to give you one right now. I'll show you how this thing works. Lauren, yes, this is being recorded. All the recordings are up in our archive area, so you've not only got this one, you've got a ton of them. They go back several years on the recordings. Okay, Gregory says the 3-day hotel. Anybody else? You guys want to pick another one here, or are we going to go with that one? Oh, on the 3-day hotel, they're pretty much all over the U.S. It's U.S., continental U.S. So let me get that set up here. And here's another thing. If you guys want that, go ahead and put your phone number to text, and I'll go ahead and I'll text you the certificate. That way you can see how the thing is going to work. Okay, so 3-night hotel stay. Anybody that wants one, go ahead, put it in the chat box. Put your number in there, and I'll fire it out to you. Okay, Joe, he wants the big one. All right, we'll get that handled for you. Give me just a second here. Again, anybody that wants this, put your number in there, and you'll get a text here in just a second. This is live, so give me a minute to get this all dialed in. And again, if there's another one, just let me know what you want. All right, numbers coming through. So give me just a sec here, guys. Patience. Tell you, all the people that are not on here are going to be bummed when they see the replay. Almost there. Now, the fact that all of you guys are doing this is a pretty good indicator that this would work the same way if you were to do this on a webinar. You would get a lot of interaction here. Okay, let me just make sure I've got everybody here. Okay. Just a second. Okay, here it is. 3-night hotel stay on the way. So if you check your text, you should see there's a link there for your certificate, how to redeem it, all that good stuff. Now, let me send another one here. For those of you that wanted the big one. Let's see, let me find that code. Okay, sent everyone that one as well. And then I'll give you guys one more just for the heck of it here. All right, so there you go. There's 3 of them out to you. Let's see. Okay. Donna, I missed yours. Let me pop that back in there for you. And she wants Mexico, so.
Well, I would prefer a week on your boat, but you know.
Hey, that's coming. That will. You guys left. That will be an invite. That is
right.
Part of the reason I'm getting it is for all of our members.
Well, and you know, John, we were just on 2 cruises, and you know, you made the comment about, you know, a lot of internet marketers don't do this stuff because it seems cheesy or far-fetched.
Uh-huh.
You need to go on a cruise because like people buy shit. The upsell is ridiculous, especially on Royal Caribbean, and people go for it. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So, sorry.
Absolutely. So in the chat, what I'm going to do, I'm going to, give me just a second. Let me get the link for this. So if you guys want to do this, basically there's a service that gives you access to all of these certificates. And they charge a monthly fee. It's a 1 set price per month, and it allows you to give as many of these away as you want. So you could literally give thousands of these things away. If you were on stage, let me give you an example of if you were on stage, you could print these out. You could print the PDFs out on cardstock so you had them in your hand, and you could have like 100 of them. You could give your spiel on stage, and you could say, you know, for the first 100 people that sign up, I'm going to give you this 7-night stay at a luxury resort in Mexico. And whether they wanted your thing or not, they're going to buy it just to get that. It's crazy. You know, I've seen a lot of people do this, but I have not seen this translate to the online world. So this is like a hidden nugget. And if you guys are having trouble getting people to sign up for your webinars, this might be a perfect thing to get that to happen. And again, don't give them the big one up front. Give them one of the smaller ones. Give them the small one to sign up. And then when they're signed up, then you offer the bigger one at the end of the webinar. Because not only do you want them to sign up, you don't want just a bunch of people to sign up just to get the one thing. You want them to actually watch the webinar and get to your offer. So you give that out after your offer. So that's kind of the way it is. So let me paste the link in here, and I'm sending that out over the chat to everyone. that to everyone. Okay, so there it is. It's basically 99 bucks a month. And again, it gives you access to give away all these certificates. You can brand it. You can put your company name on it. It's a really cool deal. So again, some of you guys might not need that. Some of you desperately need a way to get people onto your lists and onto your, to stay for your webinar, to get to your offers. This is a good way. And again, like I said, this works really good for people in the unaware portion of the pyramid, and that is the biggest slice. That's your biggest opportunity of people that are not aware of your product, possibly not even aware that they have a problem. So that whole idea of, hooking them when they're not aware, and again, the timeshare thing is perfect. Nobody's walking down the street thinking, man, if I only had a timeshare today, that would be really cool. They're just not doing that. They're unaware. They're probably unaware that they haven't had a real true vacation in 5 years. They're just not thinking about it. But when you bring that to their attention and you go, wow, most successful people take a really good vacation every year. Then they start thinking, wow, I haven't had one in 5 years. What's that mean? I'm not successful? And then it moves their mindset. It moves that shift, and it starts creating demand and desire. That's the biggest key thing for you guys, is you've got to figure out how to create demand and desire for your product. And that's by connecting it to something that they really want. Like if they want to feel successful, and you're saying, successful people take a really cool vacation every year, and they're not, that's something that can make that shift to, wow, well, I want to be successful, so I need to vacation every year. You can plant that seed of, when you're doing that, you feel successful, and that inspires more success. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, you just need to figure out a way to connect it. Whatever they want. Maybe it's more health, maybe it's success. Some people want to lose weight. So you guys have products all over the board. So you just need to kind of figure out what's the connectors, and all of that's done through the analysis. If you guys haven't got that piece yet, analysis is like the critical foundation for everything in your marketing. If you don't figure that out, you're either going to get lucky and have success that you probably won't be able to reproduce, or you're probably more likely going to struggle to the point of failure. Because it's all about creating demand and desire for your product or your service, overcoming objections, and making an irresistible offer. If you've got those three things down, you should really have no problem marketing your products. You should have no problem with sales. Because if you do those things, sales is going to become just, something that happens naturally. If you've got people that want your, whatever it is that you're trying to sell them, and there's no objections in the way, they will actually ask, how can they get that? I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody that I'm talking to, and I haven't even presented an offer yet. And they're like, well, how do I work with you? How do I get that? And it's because I've created the demand and desire. I've eliminated objections. They're ready to go, and I haven't even made an offer yet. So that's what you want to do. You want to figure out how to do that with whatever it is that you're selling. So again, this is like, if you've got to resort to cheesy stuff, then you got to resort to cheesy stuff, whatever it takes to win the game. So anyway, I hope that helps you guys. I hope that, gives you another tool in your tool belt to both build your lists and incentivize people to actually make that move and watch your webinar. Because that's where, and again, back to the analysis piece, this is really important, is the timeline. If you guys haven't done the timeline exercise, definitely do that, because that'll tell you a lot about your prospect. And in essence, the timeline exercise, all it really is it's getting an understanding of where your prospect is, where they are in their head, how they're feeling about it, what they're hearing from the market, what they see, all of that. It's where they are. It's like, what, if you get that right, you will know what's going on in their head. You'll know what's keeping them up at night. They'll be laying there not being able to sleep thinking, if I only had this, then I could do that. And that's what you got to plug in. What are those things? What is it that they have to be able to do what they want? And when you get that right, that goes into your copy. That goes into your headlines. That's what grabs their attention. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for those answers. And on the other side of that coin is they're in complete bliss and they don't know they have a problem, and you've got to make them aware of that. And I use that example of the timeshare. Generally people aren't walking down the street thinking, "No, I wish I had a timeshare." They're not staying up at night thinking that. But when you plant that seed, that tree will grow. And with the timeshare thing, they have a very short window to plant that seed and make it grow. Generally, they're trying to get you into the thing right now. So they got to have something really good to sweep you in for 2 hours for this presentation that, you go barking and scratching because you don't really want to go, but you want the cool thing. And by the time they've had that 2 hours, they've shifted you. They've actually created demand and desire. They've eliminated your objections, and then they make you an irresistible offer, and they sell the heck out of that stuff. So again, that's what you got to do. You've got to figure out how to do that. And I'm not recommending that you do high pressure sales like they do. I don't dig that at all. And again, just the fact that I don't dig it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me, but it works for millions of other people. So, if that's the case, if that's what you need to drive your business, would I recommend it? Absolutely. It just means I'm not your ideal client for that. It doesn't mean there's not a million others that are. So again, that's what analysis tells you. It tells you who is your ideal client. Who is the most profitable segment of the market. Your ideal client is going to come out of there. And then whatever their timeline looks like, who they are, that stuff is going to be the key to seducing their heart. That's the big thing. You seduce their heart, you convince their head, and chances of a sale go through the roof when you do those two things. And it's really hard to do both of those things unless you really get into their mind. And that's what analysis is all about. A lot of people get stuck in there. They tend to overthink things. And really, it's a really simple thing. And a lot of it is going to be intuition. Some of you are your own avatar. Some of you have created what you've created out of necessity. And if that's the case, you know how you were feeling before you had the solution. You were the person you were trying to sell to. You just happen to be a higher functioning version of that that's entrepreneurial, and you created your own solution. So, those millions of people out there that have that same problem don't have that key component of being an entrepreneur to create their own solution. And that's where your opportunity lies, to offer the solution for them. So think back, take yourself out of where you are today and go back to where you were when you were in that problem, and how, what kind of feelings were you having? What were you hearing? Did you have feelings of hopelessness? Whatever it was, that's what your person that you're trying to sell to, that's where they're at. And if you understand that and you understand where they want to be, then you can help them get there. And you connect the outcome of where they want to be to what you're offering. And that's how you seduce the heart, because the heart is that's where all the wants and desires, that's where they live. And a lot of people will say that's in the subconscious. The subconscious really drives us. It's the head that gets in the way. I say seduce the heart, convince the head. The head is like your conscious mind, and its whole job in this world is to protect the heart. It does not want the heart to get broken. So it's very disbelieving. It says, no, I don't believe that. I'm not going to let you get hurt. It's talking to the heart. So it steps in and it will create all the objections. So job one, get the heart to want what it is. Job two, convince the head it's for real and it's not going to harm the heart and it's going to actually get you what you want. And, that might sound kind of, out there, that concept, but it's true. It's the way it works. You've got the subconscious and the conscious. When they come into alignment, that's when things happen. When they're out of alignment, that's where confusion lies. And nobody makes a sale in the state of confusion. Nobody buys. They say the confused mind doesn't buy. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. And a confused mind, all that means is there's objections. And objections, they're always attached to beliefs. And those beliefs are created by, on the timeline, where the person is. It's what they're seeing, what they're hearing. A lot of times they have friends that have tried something and nothing's worked for them. So what do they believe? They believe, hey, that doesn't work. I don't need to try it. I don't believe it works. So is that an objection? Absolutely. It's a huge objection. So unless you can overcome that objection, first of all, identify the objection, what it is. And again, that all falls back on the analysis piece. A lot of times when you look at, what are they seeing and what are they hearing, they're going to be hearing things that are creating beliefs in them. They may hear that, hey, if you have cancer, you've got to go to the doctor and you've got to have chemo. So they believe that. So if you're offering them a natural cure, guess what? There's a huge objection. So you've got to identify the objection so you can eliminate it before you make your offer. Because if you make your offer and there's objections in the way, you're not going to make the sale. And if you're not face-to-face, you're doing the online thing, you're not going to be there to anticipate that. You're not going to be there to counter that. So they're going to have the objection and away they go and they're just gone and they left and you just know you didn't make a sale. You didn't convert very well. So that's a big thing, is figuring out, what are those objections, and it's all discovered in analysis. But don't get caught up. Like, I've got a lot of steps in there, like tools to use and things like that. I put those in there for people that really need some tools to help them along. But I don't want you guys to get stuck in there and get caught up in there and do the, the over-analysis piece, hunting for things that may or may not exist. A lot of this is intuition. A lot of it is what you already know. I'm sure if you're creating this thing, you've either been in the spot where they are, or a lot about them to have created something, for them, whatever it is. It's a product, a service, whatever it is. You guys should get a lot of this out of yourself. The workbook there is there, to format a structure so you can pull it all out. You can know what you're looking at, what you need to pull out. So, anyway, just don't get stuck. If you do get stuck, hop on this call and tell me where you're stuck so I can unstick you. I want you guys to really get success in this new year. There was our last apprentice group. Several of them are now actually up and running. It's really exciting. We got some of the first offers out this last year for some of our apprentices. Some are still in process. Donna, we got to get you up and going. I think about you every day.
Oh my God, John. Well, the fall is the worst time of year for us because our travel schedule is just at a flat run. But literally, I had a dream about you the other night, but from a business perspective. So I'm like, oh my God, this is getting really bad. So you will be seeing me a lot.
Awesome.
A lot. So we're ready to go for 2019. We've got some big plans. So
awesome. Well, I am excited to jump in there and get dirty with you and get that happening. Very, very cool. So yeah. So anyway, and the rest of you guys, really, I want to pull you guys along and get you there, because Another thing I also wanted to put out there too, we had that original contest for the $100,000, anybody that makes 100 grand with the system, basically the first one over the line gets the gold bar.
And it
And
hasn't happened yet?
yes, the first one is gone.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's actually been, that I know of, there's been 2 cross the line.
Awesome.
So Gwen and Rustin, they got the first one over the line.
Very cool.
And then Chris, he is way over the line, but untraditionally. He didn't actually create an online funnel to do it, but he took the exact concept that we teach. He converted his business, and he is like way over the line.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he is working. He told me he's working less. He fired all his clients that I told him to get rid of. He was scared to death when he did it. But he said the clients that he attracted in, he's making 10 times more than he's ever made. And life is enjoyable now.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
So yeah, it wasn't done through a traditional funnel, but he got it. So, and there's several more. We've just finished probably four funnels that either went online this last month or are about to go online that I think are going to do really, really well. I think they'll hit the mark really quickly. And again, that's what the boat is for. You know, for those of you that don't know, I've been shopping for a pretty big boat for parties and mastermind groups and things like that. That's going to be for the 100K club members. So another incentive for you guys to get over the 100K mark. No reason that this system will not take you there. You know, if you follow along, you create an offer, you know, you got to follow the steps though. It's really important. So many people they'll be shooting at a market that's either too small or doesn't have the money. Can't tell you how many people that I start working with, and their first thing, their top of mind thing is, I want to give back. You know, I want to do charity. I want to do all this free stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great. But for you to do that, you got to be healthy first.
Right.
So, you know, we've got to have you having enough income that, first of all, you can afford to take time to do all that charity work, which, you know, hey, if that's what you like to do, that's totally cool. That's part of freedom. Being able to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it, with whoever you want to do it with. You know, if charity is your thing, great. But you've got to be successful first. You know, if you don't have the success behind you, how are you going to drive that for a charity event?
Hey,
So,
John.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Hey, how are you? I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, my mother told me that charity begins at home.
Yes, exactly. With yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think I sent you an email. I don't know if it's still in my drafts, but I'm going through your steps. Everything is like it makes too much sense. So I'm going through the avatar thing, and you know, like my market, I'm looking for people that want to start a business.
Yep.
Okay, so you know, our friend Craig told me, you know, that's a small enough focus, because I keep diving into this avatar thing, and I'm like, you know, my avatar is a teacher that's about to retire, and they have a high cost of living, and they have grant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, you know what? But then I can also talk to the 50-year-old guy that just got downsized and needs to start a business.
Yeah, I did. I saw it right before I hopped on the call. I saw your question in an email, and it was in essence, can I have multiple avatars? And
that's okay?
Yeah, the answer is absolutely. In fact, all of you are going to have multiple avatars.
Okay.
The thing that I want you to focus on first is, when you have a different avatar, you're going to have a slightly different message. It might be a very slightly different message, but it's going to be a different message. And whatever it is, it's going to be speaking their language. So what I want you to do first, instead of trying to create 10 funnels all at once, side by side for 10 different avatars, which what I've found is that is a failure model because you never wind up finishing one of them.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. So I really encourage you to pick one, get the one up, get it functioning, get it working, and then clone that funnel, change the languaging slightly, and go after your second avatar.
Okay, so it's okay to drill down to like the retired teacher and
oh, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
then okay.
The more you can segment them, the more successful you'll be.
Yeah, that's where I was having, because I respect Craig and I value his opinion, but there's always another right opinion. So I'm gonna follow your lead with that.
Yeah,
I just where do I cut it off? Like, when do I say, okay, I've drilled down enough, I'm gonna focus on that.
Yeah. I can, one thing I can guarantee you is the more specific you are and the more structured your languaging is for a really specific avatar, the more it's going to convert. The more generic you are, the less it will convert.
Okay, that's what I want to know, because I'm getting like really, really specific.
Yeah, that's the more specific, the better.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. The general reason why is if you look at a really good, successful salesperson, and let's say you were able to shadow them for a day and you were able to walk around and just be a fly on the wall and watch them work, you'll see they all follow the same protocol. The first thing they do, they start asking questions. And the questions may or may not relate to the actual product. The questions might be, finding out if they have kids, finding out, personal things about them.
Right.
What they're going to do, they're going to understand who they're talking to. And they're going to listen very carefully to the words. And they're going to take those words and they're going to bring those words back. They're going to speak back to them in their language, not in the salesman's language. They're going to speak back in the prospect's language. They're going to understand what's important to them, and they're going to tailor their presentation based on that information. What they're doing their analysis right there on the fly, face to face, without even thinking about it.
Isn't that sort of like what NLP is?
Very much. Okay. NLP, mirroring and matching. If they're sitting forward, you sit forward.
Right.
If they're relaxed and they've got their legs crossed and they're leaning back, you do the same thing because it will make them comfortable.
Right, I'm getting it.
So in our language, we don't have that variation, online. We can't see how they're sitting and all that. But the closer we can know, what they're thinking and all that, we can mirror that. We can mirror their language. So in your case, if you're looking at a retiree, he's going to be very different than his languaging is going to be very different. His point of view is going to be very different than a teacher that knows, okay, I've got so many years left. It's different.
Oh yeah, I even went down to like what kind of terms do they use?
Uh-huh.
Like what words do teachers use? Even entrepreneurs, we have like our own language. I know that when I go to California, it's like I feel like I'm talking to people that are speaking the same language. Yeah,
no, exactly. And even like a really, really good salesperson, they will even mimic, like the, what do you call it? Not the slang, but the accents.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I have seen them shift gears and talk in a Southern drawl.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't want to say that, they're fake or liars or what have you, because, I don't know. But I can't tell you how many times I've heard them say, oh, yeah, I'm from a town not far from there. And automatically they start talking in the drawl. And it's like, really?
Well, how far is far,
And again, you're talking about a very high functioning salesperson that closes deals like crazy. So NLP in its very nature, for those of you that are not familiar with that term, NLP is it's called neuro-linguistic programming, and it's a way to pattern speech for effectiveness. It's basically for effective communication, and it has a lot to do with mirroring and matching and getting your point across, and in a very concise way. And a lot of that has to do with understanding who you're talking to, and mirroring and matching like that. So anyway, yeah, NLP, that's something, if you haven't taken a look at that, it's certainly worth a look. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. I've been through a lot of different courses on that. It helped me a lot with public speaking. When I started doing speaking, at first I was very uncomfortable with it. I was not comfortable being in front of a room. I was totally comfortable speaking because I knew my shit and it was no problem, but I just wasn't comfortable being out in front of a bunch of people. So what I would do whenever I would have a speaking engagement, I would control the room, and I would always speak to them from the back of the room, behind them. I'd have my presentation up in front of them, so they were looking at that and they're hearing my voice. And I was very effective. And then I would, have them come back and talk to me and, sign them up for programs and what have you. Very comfortable doing all of that. But then I got the opportunity to speak at Glacier Kennedy in front of 2,000 people, and there wasn't even a podium to hide behind. So it's like me on stage in front of 2,000 people, and I'm like, holy shit, what did I just do to myself? What did I commit to? And that's when I went, and I actually used Matt Brawning. I went to him. He told him what I had done. And basically asked for help. I'm like, I'm in way over my head here. And he worked with me. He worked on, one-on-one with me a little bit. And then he put me in his, at the time it was called leadership training. Now he's changed it to speaker training. But he told me, in the process of NLPing me, he told me in the process, he said, look, he said, when you get to Atlanta, he said, you're going to be standing by the side of the stage. And he said, you will be so excited, you won't be able to wait to get up there.
Really?
And I'll be damned, when I got there, that is exactly what happened. I was standing there and I just couldn't wait to run up on that stage in front
John,
of
that's part of the NLP. He planted the
Right?
Yeah, he did. He pre-framed me. He did, he did all that stuff.
That's why he's good. He's the man.
Yeah, and I can tell you for sure the stuff works. I use it every day. For communication, I use it every day. And it's helped my business. It's helped my marriage. I got Barb to go through some of it. She went kicking and screaming because she saw it as pure manipulation. Yeah. And she did not want to be manipulated by anybody, especially me. But now, it allows us such a better relationship because of our communication. Like before, I'll give you an example of how this used to go in our marriage. She would come at me on the attack. I wouldn't have any clue as to, what or why or when or how. And I would immediately go on the defense. And the attack would escalate to the point where, we're both like, about to claw each other's eyes out. And for what? For nothing. Now, as a contrast to the way I handle that now, if she, she's in that space, I don't know how she got there. It doesn't matter. She's in that space. There's nothing I can do about it. I just sit back. I don't say a word. I just let her vent, attack me, whatever. And at the end of it, when she's got it all out, all I have to do is say, what's really bothering you? And when I say that, she realizes instantly it wasn't me, had nothing to do with me. she feels really bad about attacking me for it. And then she'll tell me what the real problem is, and then we can deal with it. That's a big difference. You know, if you're in a marriage and you've got somebody you care for, that's a big difference to be able to treat that kind of situation and diffuse it like that, instead of, you know, turning the whole thing into anger from two directions and just having something just nasty take place. You know, things will be said that aren't meant. You know, you guys know how it goes, I'm sure. So, you know, like I said, I use it every day in every way. I use it, you know, for everything. It's a really cool tool in my tool belt for communication. If you notice, it's woven into everything throughout the ACT program. You know, it's an underlying weave to the whole thing. You know, figuring out how to communicate with people. That's what it's all about. That's marketing to its core. People that are effective in marketing are effective in communication. You know, it's how do you communicate what you have to make someone want it? That's really the core thing of what it's all about. So understanding why they want it, how important is that? You know, if you haven't figured out why someone wants what you have some real issues in communication. That's going to come through in your marketing. That's going to show in poor conversion, and that's going to send you to the poorhouse when you look at how much it costs to acquire a customer. You know, if your conversion is bad, your ads are going to cost you a fortune, because you're going to have to buy so many people through your process to get a sale. It's not going to be profitable. It's going to hurt you. It's probably going to destroy your business. So communication really it's the key to everything. David Ogilvy, you know, he talks about the big idea. The big idea is a way to communicate on the front end to hook someone. And if you don't have a big idea, you know, one of his famous sayings is, an ad campaign with no big idea will pass like a ship in the night. And what that means is a ship in the night is not seen. It's dark. You know, it can pass you and you don't even see it. So if your ad campaign is passing like a ship in the night, how expensive is your advertising dollars? You know, when you're buying ads and they're not being seen and you're paying for them, you know, that'll kill you. That will kill your business. So it's all about, you know, conversion. Traffic is absolutely meaningless if you can't convert it. So I hope over the last year or so, if I've got nothing else through, it's that, you know, we've got to get conversion. We've got to get your conversions up. That alone will double, triple, quadruple your income because of the profit. You know, I see so many people that, you know, they're in business and they want the freedom. That's why they're in business, but they're not making enough money to actually get the freedom, and it's working against them. You know, they'll quit a day job where they made enough money to go out and do things on the weekend, but they were captive during the week. You know, they had a job. That was like their little jail cell. But then they go and they become an entrepreneur, and now they don't even have the weekends off. They're working 24/7. They're not making enough money to do anything. They've got what they think is freedom, but is it really? You know, if you don't have profit, you don't have freedom. That's the key to the whole thing. You know, you've got to have money and time to really get freedom. So if you don't have both of those, you're not there yet. And the only way, you know, the time factor, that comes with automation, you know, automating or delegating. You know, you've got to be able to delegate stuff where it doesn't require you to be there 24/7, or you've got to automate, again, not requiring you to be there 24/7. That's what I love about the funnel stuff. You know, getting a marketing funnel together that you can go ahead and you can set up automatic streams of traffic through paid sources, and you've got automatic sales through an automated funnel. now you can scale. If you need more money, you turn up the traffic and literally you walk away. You know, you can go on vacation then, not worrying if you're going to come home to a disaster. You know, you're not. You know, sales are still going to come through whether you're sitting there or not. You know, if you've got recurring income, you know the income's going to come through whether you're sitting there or not. You know, God forbid, what happens if you got to go in the hospital for a week? Do you want to come home to have everything collapsed and a disaster? Or, you know, would you like things operating day to day as usual, whether you're there or not? You come back and things are just like they were before you left. That's true freedom. That's peace of mind. That's security. You know, and you don't get that in a day job. You know, you don't get that if you don't have automation, if you don't have a true system of, you know, generating sales without your involvement. So anyway, cool stuff. That's what I want to, that, you know, that's my job, to get you guys to that point. So that's why I get up every day. So, all right, guys, anybody got questions, comments? You stuck anywhere? Anything you don't understand? All right. Well, cool. All right, guys, this is it. Again, this is our last call of the year. I'm going to be out till the 4th. I'll be back on the 4th. We'll do our next call January 4th, which is a Friday. It's off of our normal schedule. But then after that, we'll be back on Thursdays at 11 Pacific time. And for those of you in Apprentice, again, I'll be out for this week. So get your stuff ready and let's get going when I get back. Let's get you cooking.
Yes, you will have my stuff by the time you get back. Promise.
Awesome. Awesome. I look forward to it.
Are you going on the Marketers Cruise this year, John?
You know, I don't know yet. And I know that's getting pretty last minute to be undecided. I don't think so.
Okay. I did. We're not, it's leaving out of California. And so that's why I thought that I don't think we're not going to go.
Yeah, so, it's literally right in my backyard, but
if you were going to go, we would have considered going.
Yeah, I'm not signed up. Let's just say that.
Okay.
I did talk to my cruise rep. I do a lot of cruises on Carnival, and I just did one just last month. And my cruise rep, we took our Barb's brother. He had his honeymoon, so a bunch of family members went on this cruise for his honeymoon. And he didn't know what I had done, but my cruise rep actually got me the 2 penthouse suites on the 12th floor.
Right.
One for us and then one for him.
Nice.
And these suites, I don't know if you've ever seen them or not.
No.
There's 2 of them on a Carnival, and they take up the entire 12th floor.
Oh, my God.
So your elevator goes up, and it's 2 rooms.
That's so interesting because we just took, so what we've done this year is we have primarily an in-house team, and we've been working all year on putting all of our written procedures in place. And then what we did is we took our team outside. So everybody works from home except for 2 part-time gals here. But that being said, we still need face-to-face interaction. So we took our entire team on a cruise at the beginning of December as a 2019 kickoff. And there was only 9 of us. So small group, right? But that was one of the things that they requested. They're like, next year, we all want to stay in like one giant room. And I'm like, oh boy.
Well, you probably could with us. I mean, it was a monster room. And they connected. The 2 rooms actually connected to make one enormous room.
Oh my God. Well, see, we were on Royal Caribbean, and this was the second time on Royal Caribbean, and we're used to being on the marketer's cruise, and I was kind of like going, Carnival, blah, because I'm a snob, right? And I admit it. I like nice shit. I was so disappointed in Royal Caribbean. Because they tried to upcharge you for everything.
Really?
Everything. And so I was like, okay, next time we're going, I'm going back to Carnival. I'm going to Carnival. So
I think Carnival kind of got a bad rap being the low on the totem pole, but I think there's nothing wrong with Carnival.
No, not. Oh, actually, I thought the Carnival ship was way nicer than the one that we were on.
Yeah.
So, and then we integrated our giving back as part of the cruise as well too. We visited 2 dog rescues in Mexico, and of course, lighted up the dogs and donated product. So
awesome.
So you should consider a cruise for your group.
I've actually done that before.
Oh, not since I've known you.
No, this was probably. I've actually done a few of them.
You're like, please, I'm done working.
The last one I did was probably about. Geez, I hate to say this, but it was probably 7 or 8 years ago.
Oh my! See, you're overdue.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm looking to buy my own.
Well, if you need assistance in looking, we are in Florida. Brian and I are happy to, do some, pre-shopping for you if you need it.
All right. Well, I was actually thinking about heading down that way. I'm starting to look toward the end of the first quarter.
Okay, cool. Let us know.
Well, I may pop over there and do a little shopping.
Let us know if you're coming to Florida. That we'll meet you up. We'll meet up with you.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
All right.
Well, you guys have a great new year. Say hi to Barb. Thank you again for all of your expertise and wisdom. We sure appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
And you'll see more of myself and my team. I know that Carlos has been emailing you, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I actually haven't heard from him in a while.
No? Oh, well, we're gonna get on. We're getting 2019's a new year, man. We're ready to go.
Awesome. Well, cool. Yeah, that's I am ready to go too. I'm headed out tomorrow. We're gonna go do some traveling, and I'll be back on the 3rd and back in the office on the 4th, ready to go.
Fun. Well, you guys travel safe and have a great new year, and we will talk to you later.
Okay. All right, everybody. Happy New Year for those of you that I won't be seeing before then. And like I said, we'll be back ready to go on the 4th with our next call. So have a great rest of the year, and we'll see you next year.